from New York. No, we are in Laguna Woods, and it's the Laguna Woods Show with your host and moderator, Esther Grossfield. Here's Esther.
Hi, welcome to Laguna Woods Show, where every guest matters. Today we have a very special guest. He is the commander of the American Legion of Laguna Woods, and he's also a physicist. And his name is Bill Price. Hi, Bill.
Hi, how are you?
So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the American Legion? You're the commander.
I'd be happy to tell you. We have meetings once a month on the fourth Thursday at 5 in the evening, and there are sit-down dinners. We have a little ceremony. We have dinner and often have some kind of a entertainment or a speaker. This coming month, we're having a speaker, a gentleman by the name of Snyder, Bill Snyder, I believe it is, and he's going to talk about his father, who was shot down, and his father was the pilot of this B-17, but shot down over Belgium. And while he survived, he was hid away by the Belgian people for the rest of the war. They kept him from the Germans. So that was quite an exciting event. He's going to talk about that at our next meeting, which is December 21st. And as I say, it starts at 5 in the evening, and any veteran is welcome to come, whether you're a member or not. So,
and it's $15 per dinner, you said?
Dinner is $15, reasonable.
Yes, very reasonable.
And we're going to have short ribs this time.
Short ribs. Do you have to be a vet?
No,
a veteran to,
you don't have to be a veteran to
enjoy the dinner.
To come and enjoy our meeting.
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
The camaraderie we have with other veterans.
Uh-huh.
I invite anybody here, as you're listening, to come out to our meetings and join our American Legion. If you're a veteran, you should consider it, because we have a good bunch of people. And we also do other things.
Yeah.
We go to visit the Long Beach Veterans Hospital once a month. We take things to the veterans, toiletries, for example, and socks and books. And we play bingo with them. And the guys who win get little booklets that have chits in it that they can spend at their commissary. And so I think we do a nice job on that. And we do that along with the AMVETs, who also participate. So, you know, we're different organizations, but we have similar objectives. And we also have things like visits to Pendleton. We recently had a group of about 6 people who went down to Pendleton, Camp Pendleton in the Oceanside area. And we gave certificates to each of the teachers of $50 to spend on their classrooms. And they were very appreciative. So those are things that we do. We also provide color guards for special occasions like Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and for organizations that would like to have participate of the color guard. And we did that for the Aquadettes recently. Mm-hmm. In fact, we've done it last couple of years.
Yeah.
So we do other things too. And then we also provide, we have a bugler, and he bugles at each of our meetings, but he also has participated in funerals and blown taps for the deceased. So that's something else we do. So those are a number of things that the Veterans organization here does. And I've only been in the organization myself about 5 years. How they come to elect me to be the commander, I'm not sure, but it happened. So anyway, the experience I have had was a little different. I was a member of the Air Force. In those days, it wasn't called the Air Force. It's called the Army Air Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about World War II. You can see I was a veteran of World War II.
Yes.
And I went into service late. I got in January 1945. The war in Europe was over in May of 45, and the war in Japan was over in August of 45. And I'm still in training. So they sent me overseas to replace the combat troops, and I got into a fighter squadron, and I was in charge of the electric shop there. I had a tendency to be interested in electricity. And so when I got out, I didn't know quite what I wanted to do, but I thought, well, with that background of doing electricity for airplanes, I might be an electrician in civilian life, see. So I went to a trade school down in Washington, D.C. and applied. It was called the Bliss Electrical School. And they gave me a bunch of exams and then turned me away. Turned out that what has happened is not only was I late getting out of the war, or into the war, I mean, but also getting out of the war, and all the GIs had come back and were filled with schools, were filled with GIs on the GI Bill. And speaking about which, you know, I was a GI, and my name is Bill, so I'm the GI Bill. But going back to what I was saying, the GI Bill was a really useful thing for a lot of people, and in particular for me, because I ended up going to college to get those extra math courses and found that it was easy enough, so I ended up going the whole way through college, graduated as a physics major, therefore I became a physicist. And as a physicist, I went to work at the government laboratories like the Naval Research Lab in Washington, D.C. I worked at the Oak Ridge National Lab in Tennessee, and a number of different places in which I learned to be an expert in the effect of radiation on electronic components, electronic materials.
Yeah.
And later on in my life, I utilized that when I went to work at Lockheed Research Labs. Incidentally, I used the GI Bill there to buy my first house. So the GI Bill has been very good for me.
Good to you.
And so anyway, I ended up at the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena. And there I was happened to be there when they were designing and building the Voyager spacecraft. Now the Voyager spacecraft is the one that went out past the 4 planets. Went out past Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. What they found out, though, while they were building it, was that Jupiter has a big radiation field around it. Not only big, but it's intense and high energy, higher energy than the belt around the Earth. So we had to design it, build it so it would withstand that radiation. And that's where I came in, because I had a background in that very thing. So I tested every system on the spacecraft. I tested every part so we could select those that were resistant to radiation. And so that's how I participated in Voyager. And Voyager, as I just said, went out past 4 different planets. And it went on beyond that and has left the left the solar system and is out in extragalactic space. Almost can't say that. But anyway, it is still sending back data, and so that proves that the success of
There's something from the heat. You mentioned that every 30 years.
What it is the spacecraft, in order to have power to operate its instruments, has to have a source of electricity, basically.
Yes.
Well, what they did was have a boom that stuck out from the spacecraft, and on it were three RTGs, which stands for radioisotope thermoelectric generator.
Yes.
The heat from the isotopes heats thermocouples, which produce electricity, and that's what operates all the systems on the spacecraft. There are 10 instruments on the spacecraft, all of which are measuring different things, like infrared, the plasma, the low energy electrons, the high energy cosmic rays. All those different things are being measured as the spacecraft goes along. And it has cameras which take pictures. And all these have to have power to operate, and that's what the RTGs do.
That's what it is.
And that's what you're asking me
Yes.
about. So anyway, that's interesting about the GI Bill, going back to that for a minute.
Yes.
A couple of days ago, the American Legion opened an exhibit at the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall down in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They had this program where they were calling out the GI Bill, which is really a nickname for the actual name of the legislation.
Yes.
But they call it the greatest legislation, which I think is a good way of putting it, because that bill allowed a lot of Americans to get an education.
Yes.
And build the infrastructure and the industrial might of the U.S. And that's what the greatest generation did, using that greatest legislation.
You are called the greatest generation.
That's true. We are called the greatest generation.
Very caring, going to the hospital, to people that really are alone in the hospital.
Yes.
And you help them out. It's
Well,
really,
we do what we can, and we would like to have other veterans join us, because we're living in an older community, and we're getting older. Therefore, a few people drop out, and we need some people to drop in. So I'm asking anybody, any veterans out there, to think about
coming.
joining the American Legion and helping us help the other veterans. That's what we do.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that went to Vietnam and they live here, and
Yes.
maybe they should come. They should come and join you, the
There
American Legion.
are limits to who can be a member, but there is a way of finding out that. If you go online
Yeah.
and you go to AL, which stands for American Legion, 257, which is our
Yes.
chapter, 257,
Yes.
al257.org, you can find there an application. There's on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a list of things, one of which says application. If you click on that, an application comes up that you can fill out and join the American Legion. So that's what you should do.
So what is basically you need to do to be in your
Well,
American
on this
Legion?
form,
Yeah.
it tells you what years and what dates are make you eligible. You only have to be a member of the armed forces on one day of any of those dates that are listed. It turns out that not all veterans can join. It turns out that it's a wartime organization, so only during war times can you, if you're a member of the armed forces during the wartime, can you be a member of the American Legion. But again, those dates are listed on the application form, so you can always find out whether you fit or not. So, and there are some people who don't, but nevertheless, you should try. I'd like you to go to that site and see how so easy it is to fill out that form. And it's $45 as a membership with your application.
For a year?
Yeah, for a year. And you do have to rejoin every year. Although there are some people who have joined for life.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
I've forgotten the amount of money, but you pay a certain amount of money, and you don't have to pay membership every year anymore.
Wow.
You're a member for life.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are other things you do? Are there other things you do at the American?
Other than the
Legion?
American Legion, you mean?
I mean, no, the American Legion, you do all kinds of things. I mean,
Well,
what else? I mean, I know you're going to the
We-
hospital and you're helping all those people, and you meet a lot of nice people.
well, we had a nice ceremony on
Oh, yes.
Veterans Day.
Yes, yes.
Where people spoke, and we had a color guard. I think I
Yes.
told you that
Yes.
our color guard is supplied for various occasions.
Yeah.
And the color guard consists of 2 people with rifles and an American flag, where a third person and a fourth person carries the American Legion flag. So that's what the color guard consists of. And we did supply them for the Aquedettes, and when they had their performance this past year and the year before. So different organizations asked for our support. In fact, we did go to the Lake Forest Veterans Day celebration too, and they wanted our color guard. We came, and they were very appreciative.
Wow, you're doing so many incredible things.
We do
really.
wonderful things, yes.
Wonderful things, really. You're good people.
Thank you.
Especially when you're going to the hospital and you help all those people there. You told me about a guy that couldn't even walk. He was on the thing.
At the Veterans Hospital, it's a little difficult sometimes to see how badly some of those veterans are wounded. It's very obvious that some of them are in tough shape, but they're cheerful.
And you make them happy.
They enjoy our coming, number one, and number two, playing bingo with us.
Yes.
And we get those give out when they win little booklets, or they can buy things at their commissary. So they're very pleased that we come.
Yeah. So is there a difference between the new GI and the old GI? You said there was some kind of difference. Did they change the GI Bill? Are there any changes?
There are differences in the GI Bill. There, they keep revising it, or at least adding to it as the years go by.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the years, but the original one was signed in 1944 by Roosevelt. Mm-hmm. There was a later one during the Vietnam War. Again, I've forgotten the name of that, but there was another one. And most recently, past November, a new bill was signed that's known as the Forever GI Bill.
What does that mean?
It means that there's no longer a cutoff in date that they can't take care of the GI Bill, take advantage of the GI Bill.
Wow.
It's no longer a cutoff date. You can, as long as you're in the service, you can take advantage of it.
Wow, it used to be a cutoff, huh?
There used to be a cutoff, right, exactly. But now they're not.
Wow,
So that's why they call it the Forever GI Bill.
wow.
It's a nickname, of course.
Yes. That's nice.
I've forgotten the real name because it's kind of a long
It's a long...
legislative title, you know.
Yeah. So how long have you lived in Laguna Woods?
I've lived here about 8 years or so. I came in mid-2009, whatever that would make it.
Yeah.
And
2009 makes it...
this happens by chance to
9
be
years?
my 4th retirement village.
Really?
Yeah.
Where were you first? Which
When I
retirement?
retired from JPL
Yeah.
in 1970,
I think 79. No?
79, yeah, thank you.
You told me.
I guess. Yes, I retired in 1979, and I moved immediately to a retirement village in Oceanside.
Yeah.
And I think it's now called Ocean Hills
Yeah.
Country Club.
Yeah.
They had a different name, just like we had here.
Yes.
And changed
the
it.
Leisure World and Laguna
Anyway,
Woods.
that's their latest name.
Yes.
And I lived there 11 years. It was a lot like this, but smaller. You know,
Yes.
I only had one golf course, had one clubhouse, and
Yes.
things like that. One pool room.
Ah, and you like to play pool?
I like to play
table?
pool. That's
Pool table.
one of my avocations.
So then you went to a different.
Yeah, we went to. My wife got a little tired of that village, I guess, and decided we'd move to Las Vegas.
Yes.
Actually, Henderson, but
Anderson,
we moved into a Del Webb there.
Yeah.
We stayed there for some 4 years.
Yeah.
That's where I began to play pool, I think, after getting out of the work life. It takes you a while to kind of work your way into
adjust to retirement.
Yeah, and I also played bocce there, and I do here too. But there they had some really nice courts, so it was a nice place. But of course, it's hot there, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And you go from an air-conditioned house to an air-conditioned car to an air-conditioned casino,
Yeah.
so you can live through it.
And then you went to a different place.
Then my wife said, "Well, let's go to Indio." We went to a Del Webb in Indio. We had been in a Del Webb in Henderson, but now we were in a Del Webb in Indio.
How long were you there?
Another 4 years.
4 years.
I think that was our limit.
But now
But now I'm not moving.
it's the best.
This is the best one, no question.
Why do you think that? Why do you like
Well,
it so
it has a lot more activities,
Yeah.
over 200 clubs, as you know,
Yeah.
and I have been involved in a number of those. I was an officer in the California Club for some 5 years.
Wow, I love California Club.
And I do too.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about the California Club is that it has not only dinner dances once a month, which it does, but it has formals
Yes. I
about,
know.
3 times a year?
I don't know exactly.
I think it's 3 times a year. So I think that's pretty nice. You don't get to go many places formal these days.
I know.
And the ladies like to dress up. And I enjoy it too.
And then you like to. And what other activities do you do? I mean, you're so busy all the time. When I talked to you Sunday night, you just came back from this hospital. I mean, when you go to the hospital, it's like you meet people. I mean, you go there with a few people.
We carpool we meet in the parking lot of Clubhouse 3.
Yeah.
And generally about 2 carpools, and we go sometimes 3, it depends. But
How long do you spend there? How many hours do you spend?
we spend at least 2 hours there, maybe a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
So we spend the time necessary to play the bingo, give the prizes. We also have food and drink for the veterans during this bingo. So it's a nice affair, so to speak.
And they know you already in the hospital.
They do know
certain
us, and
people.
they really appreciate us coming.
They can't wait for you to come
Yeah.
again, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
They really enjoy. So
And they,
some people stay there for a long time in the hospital.
Yes, there's no question about that. They do stay there for a long time. Some of them are quite damaged. I'm thinking you understand that.
Yeah.
But when I was there last time, I met a gentleman whose name is also Bill. So
Yes.
he introduced me to his wife, who was there, and his daughter.
Yeah,
They were playing bingo with him.
Uh-huh.
So they have visits too from their family.
From the family.
Sure.
So that's very interesting. And then you met some more people there, but
Of course.
But so how long do they stay there? I mean, it depends.
It depends
in the injuries.
on what they're having done. I can't answer that because
Yeah.
I'm sure it varies a lot.
Yes, yes, yes.
Short times to long times.
So sometimes you go there.
There's people who do go just for the day, and they go to get a treatment and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people.
Then
who
you
do
get
that
used
too.
to those people that you go and then they're not there.
The people that we see are there for a period of time, not just a day.
Yeah, yeah, like for a year or two. Or
Could be a long
months.
time. We don't know.
Could be a long time.
Yeah.
Well, it was so nice having you here.
Thank you.
We got so much information. And the dinners that you have once a month, you have dinners the third Thursday
The
of
fourth-
the month?
fourth Thursday.
Oh, fourth, okay. The fourth Thursday of the month, you
At
have
five in the evening.
5 in the evening,
Clubhouse 1.
Clubhouse 1, and it's catered,
It's a catered sit-down dinner,
and it's only $15.
and it's only $15.
And anybody could go? I mean,
Anybody could go. We prefer veterans, but
Yes.
Nevertheless, if you're inclined to come and see how we are,
Yes, yes.
you could do that.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching, and next time we'll have another interesting person. Thank you. Bye.